Well, we still have to wait for our.
Charles is on now.
Oh, he is, good.
Yep.
Yeah, I finally, after 4 devices, I finally got in.
Oh, geez.
Sometimes these things get cranky, don't they?
Yeah, I needed a new passcode, apparently. I don't know. Whatever you sent last Eunice worked. The other stuff wouldn't let me in. Why, I have no clue. All right, so we have a quorum. Then I guess we shall get rolling. The first order of business would be to review and approve the minutes from the last meeting, which obviously was a couple of months ago. Eunice is always kind enough to send it out ahead of time. Hopefully you've had a chance to review it. Any first motion to approve the minutes, and then if there's any changes, additions, deletions, we'll deal with that. Anyway.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
All right, all right, all in favor?
Aye.
Yeah, I just had some questions relative to it, but I can ask those questions after. It's fine.
It's not changes to the minutes, it's just questions
No,
relative to
it's
the.
exactly, it's not. So
Okay.
I'll
All right.
vote in favor.
All right, nothing to report from the chair, frankly. I grew a beard, that's it.
You can't see it. All we can see are your glasses.
Yeah.
There we
The
go.
name is covering your
mustache
beard.
too. All right.
You're sitting too close. You got to move back so you can get the
Now
full effect.
it's the phone. It's the phone that I'm on. There we
Oh,
go.
There
it
we
is.
are. There we
Very nice.
are.
I got to
Very
tilt.
distinguished. Very distinguished.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing from that I can specifically think of to report in my case. And so on to our esteemed director, Shannon.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hi. So I have some updates. I know that Sue Bastian had specifically asked for an update on the RFP. I don't know that she's with us. I can't see her. Eunice, she did say she was coming, right?
I did not get a response, and I do not see that she has called in.
Okay. Well, her specific inquiry is, if you recall, we had started several months ago doing an RFP for 10 homes. The West region was the prime that was going to do all the homes. They were statewide. There was, in particular, the medical home for individuals with tracheotomies, which I know Susan had a specific interest in. So we did do the RFP. I just wanted to kind of go over the results. Oh, Lori's with us. Wanted to go over the results of where that is and next steps. So for the West region, we had 3 homes that we had put out for interested vendors. They could be non-qualified as well as qualified, with the plan that they would have to become qualified before they could open the home. We had 1 home that was awarded out of our 3. In the South region, they had no interested vendors in those 3 homes, and as well as in the North. So what has happened now, we re-RFP'd the homes. The proposers conference occurred on November 2nd. This time we did it a bit differently. We let each region take the lead for those homes because we felt that that might be more beneficial in terms of connecting with the region and being able to do a presentation on each person, which we weren't able to do with 10 homes. That would have been an all-day affair. So I think that was part of the reason we didn't have as much success the first time. So they did the proposers conference on the 2nd. Each region held their own. And it sounds like there was a lot more vendors that were interested and attended. So the next step is all questions need to be submitted by September 9th. And then the proposals are due on October 24th for each region to do the review. So of particular interest to the department is the medical home. Just because we do hope we have some interest there. We have people at the hospital for special care that we need to get out that require a high level of nursing and respiratory therapy care, and right now are living in a hospital, and the department is not in support of that. So we're hoping for success around that. Wanted to let you know also, Connecticut Family Support Network, who I see Adriana just joined us as a member of the public, the executive director for that agency, was primarily assigned to the West region to manage that contract, but there was a decision made that that would be managed out of central office to hopefully give them more visibility throughout the state and not just the West region. So we're in transition now with that. Adriana will be working with Kevin Bronson, who is the director of communications and reports to our chief of staff. So we'll be watching that closely to see how that goes. And that was effective, I want to say last month, so that's fairly new. Wanted to let you know that our statewide RAC meeting that we have every year, there's been a date determined on November 20th, and that will be on Teams. So Charles, you'll have to give your report, and then I would do the regional director report for the West region. So what I'll do in preparation for that, I'll go back and pull, the guest speakers that we had and what, we accomplished through the year, and then anything you want to add, Charles.
Is it at 4 again,
They
Shannon?
didn't give me a time, so I just got the date, so I will find that out and have that Eunice share that with everybody so we can have good attendance, like to give as much notice as possible. I know last year it was a little chaotic. If you recall, the invites didn't go out, so hopefully everything will be on par this time so we could have good representation. I know the West did have good representation. So thank you for that. Kevin is also working on, Kevin Bronson, the Director of Communications out of Central Office, on bylaws for the RAC committees. We had talked about that in a couple of our meetings. Each region has different bylaws, which is odd, with different requirements for representation. So they're going to be looking to standardize that, is my understanding. So he's going to be working on that and getting back. I don't know if he's going to put a committee together or they're just going to look at, what applies. In particular, I know the West region has very specific membership that we probably need to look at and make some modifications there. Mickey, you had brought up, and I'm not sure if this is what you were referencing, the DSP campaign that Mary Pat was in charge of. I had worked with doing some presentations to different groups to promote it. For instance, the technical schools, some Job Corps, we did some presentations. And I had just recently asked her for some data on that, if we have any stats to see how successful that was. Was that more successful than other mechanisms that we were using to recruit for the private agencies? So hopefully by the next meeting, I'll have that data from her because I'll be real curious about that. Wanted to tell you we're still in the transition of our public locations, the Lower Fairfield Center, Northwest Center, and the one group home we have in the West region, transitioning over. Been spending some time in both of those facilities. We have some vacancies, but with the vacancies, we have many more staff vacancies. So there's some concerns about filling those opportunities at this point We recently did take a emergency that had been living in a hospital for a very long period of time, who requires extensive staffing, which is resulting in some mandations and a lot of overtime because of the number of vacancies we have there. They let us fill some part-time positions, but we are looking right now at our other existing part-time positions and looking to perhaps merge those into full-time positions, because I think that will help with the overtime, the mandations, and then will eventually allow us to fill the vacancies that we have at both of these facilities. We have the medical unit. We did accept one additional person there that was living in a group home, and her care level was so significant she required nursing level of care, so she will be moving in shortly. We had somebody that was discharged out of there, so we have capacity there. That's a great program for someone that needs nursing and preventing, a nursing home placement.
So
Wanted
Shannon,
to-
why
yeah.
would somebody have been discharged from there? It's not a permanent.
They were looking to get closer to their family who was
Oh.
on the other side of the state.
Got it.
That was the reason there.
Well, they weren't cured.
No, they weren't cured. But I mean, that is the ultimate goal that we've been talking about, because we do have long-term beds and then we have our short-term respite beds. And the plan should be that we're always looking at folks to move on when they're ready. So that will allow an opportunity for someone else to move in that requires that higher level of nursing. Because once the beds are filled, that's it.
Right.
So I'd like to see some type of turnover and, moving people on when they're ready to go, whether it's another option at the facility or into the community. We did have a very successful provider fair at Lower Fairfield. It was for both those living at the regional center and those that are in the community that live with their families or lived, on their own looking for a day program. We had a lot of providers come and we had a lot of families come. I don't know ultimately the success, just because we didn't ask families who they were coming in. They were just able to, talk to the different providers. So I was pleased. I wasn't sure. It was kind of like something we threw up and said, let's try it and see, how it works. So I was surprised at the number of providers that came, as well as the number of families that were community based.
So there's officially openings in day programs now, because there wasn't.
Well, Karen, this is the problem. Anybody that has a one-to-one, still there's
Exactly.
a
Okay.
problem with.
Got it. And that's what everybody needs, or all of my clients need.
Yeah. And the department did put some new incentive funding out for those that are either age outs, graduates, or are a LAN 7 or 8, would provide a provider with additional funding on top of what their LAN score was, in hopes that that would, engage a provider to take someone on that's more challenging. But again, it's the staffing, as I said, not only in public where, the pay is a little bit higher than private. Even with the part-time positions that we're able to fill, we're struggling.
Yeah. Lori,
It's-
did Shannon know what you've been going through of late on that with your son?
No, probably, no, my
No.
son, he has a line of 7, and due to change of staff, abrupt changes, quite a few of them, he became very aggressive. And although his program tried very hard, because he's been with the agency for 11 years, it just got to the point they couldn't support him, and I agree. I mean, it was time, they tried everything.
So he's
this
home.
was the end of May. He was home, but now we were able to actually private hire an individual that used to work at that program and that he got along with. So right now he's working with him 3 days away, 3 days a week.
So it's
I still have
self-directed? Yeah.
Self-directed, which is new. So,
Yeah.
but I'm also have reached out to Marrakesh and Ben Haven, because I'm in the South region living. just to say, I'd like to get somebody else on because I am concerned. Something happens to that individual, life happens, you no longer can work with them. I would highly doubt my son would take somebody cold, not knowing them or having a relationship first. So we're successful right now and it's going good right now, but
Oh, wow. I did
it is
not
a
know
concern.
that. So he's not with DNR anymore. Wow. Okay.
No, it was, like I said, a long time he was there, but it just got to a point, he's trying to open the car doors and, just too much. And he wasn't
Yeah.
happy either. I was driving him for 2.5 years back and forth.
And
Yeah.
sitting there the whole time,
Yeah.
sitting there, she couldn't leave. She had to sit there.
Yeah. Well, I would stay, but +2 wasn't convenient for me to go back to Madison
Oh,
and back to Derby and then back to Madison. It was just too much, and my age is get creeping up. So it wasn't something, wanted to do. I was trying to hopefully get him to a spot where he could then get back to where he was. But
he's a kid that needs a one-to-one, clearly, but it also has to be a very, very well-trained one-to-one. And he's not good with new people and he's not good with people he doesn't like. I mean, he's the kind of kid, he likes you and you're in, and he doesn't like you and you're not.
And
And
like
that's hard.
Yeah, and like with many individuals, I mean, he has his challenges and issues, but he's very astute. Who has patience with him, who
Right.
likes him. Having that bird's eye view, I got to see how these programs run very, well, and I watch the staff and watch people's reactions, not just to my son, but to others. And very quickly, I realized he really knows who's somebody that is enjoying him and can help him through his obstacles and struggles and get right back on track, or who's a little bit annoyed or a little bit less patient. So, and I learned a lot too, actually, through it. But so right now we're good, and I hope we can have somebody else join us because I just worry about, again, relying on one person,
How's the self-direction going with GTI?
Oh, I thought we were okay, and now we're back to emails, flurries back and forth. Only because, to be honest with you, he was able to get some enhanced wage for this gentleman, so to hope to retain him and hold him, and that became a problem over what's signed, what was supposed to be signed, what wasn't supposed to be signed. It's one hand doesn't know what the other hand is talking about. There's no internal communication with them, and they're sending emails to the gentleman's giving him one direction, they're telling me another direction. DDS has been involved as case manager. Excellent, thank God. But it's it's hard. You have to stay on and you have to babysit them, and I literally have just said, I don't work for you, but so I shouldn't be doing your job, but nobody's circling this in. So, and it shouldn't be. It should have been in one form, signed the way we originally did it, and then 10 people said no, and we're back to, yes, the original way was the correct way. And now they're saying it could be 3 weeks before his retro pay could be paid, and I've told them that's not acceptable. They had the form, it was correct, so it was not our error. It was not his error, it was their error. And, this gentleman would like to turn on his lights and have electricity and feed his daughter, pay his rent. So I'm pushing at that. So we'll see where we go.
You have a South Region case manager, Lori?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
I did. Charles, do you have any feedback on how's it going with your daughter in GTI?
Well, we finally figured out how to manage the system after all the bumps and bruises early on. So basically, the caregivers, which are now Sue, Taya, Tom, 4 caregivers, they don't finalize anything until until the end of the week, like Saturday or Sunday. And I get to look at the shift detail report and I verify that there are no overlaps. And that way, if it's not finalized, they can correct any overlaps. And that works. That system works fine.
Okay.
So no more overlaps.
Okay. I did want to ask for the upcoming year, did you have any specific requests for guest speakers? Anything you'd like me to do differently? Welcome to feedback.
Well, let me go through the group. And I'm going to start on my little screen down here on the left. So Arlene, you're on mute, but you're first.
I love being first. At the moment, I can't think of anything. No, staffing is an issue, but that's, so no, sorry.
All right, Lori.
Or anything, any topics that you would like a presenter to come on, or anything like that as well. And if you can't think of it now, let us know, and then I could pitch it back to Charles, and he'll have to make the ultimate decision if he agrees.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I would, if I was going to make a suggestion, it would be what new legislation, if any, was passed this most recent term that affects DDS.
Okay.
Oh, that's
I
a
mean,
good question.
That's what I
Yeah.
was going to mention too, with all these changes
Yeah, the
and
Trump question.
worries. Yeah.
Sorry.
So it's what did the legislature pass? I know one bill did not pass, dealing with a particular issue as to children who become DACs, disabled adult children, and their parents are collecting Social Security, and they're only eligible for CFC, and they get kicked off Medicaid, et cetera. But that was different. But that did not pass. So
There
just what
was
did pass?
There was another bill on the table. It was, and I know the parent group specifically at LFC was interested. There was Lucy Dathan had put forward a bill to determine the cost effectiveness of private versus public, and have that study. I think they had done that several years ago, but it didn't go anywhere.
Yeah, so I guess I would ask, in terms of what this last term, what actually passed that affects DDS, our clients, right?
Yeah.
Specifically it's the TDS. And is there anything coming up next year that we need to, on the radar? Bills being proposed, but it might be too early at this point.
Okay.
But certainly last year. Anyway, so Arlene, nothing particular. Lori? You're on mute.
I
but-
kind of, I took myself, I kind of agree, Chuck, with what you were saying, and especially concerned with all these proposals of cuts, what that could mean to all the many clients and families, not that that might not be preventable per se, but is there any looking ahead of what potentially might help to support the families? That's a worry. That's a worry in so many different directions. It's so something looking into that area would be good.
And one thing, Shannon, am I correct? They completed the study in terms of, wasn't there the bill passed that said we should look at a different definition of disability? Who's eligible for benefits from DDS as opposed to the hard 69 under IQ. And wasn't that study completed?
I believe so. I can, I haven't seen it, but I can, I was gonna ask, and I think Eunice may have put forward about Kevin Bronson coming to the next meeting, because this is really his wheelhouse, and we can put this on as an ongoing topic, but having him come to the next meeting, and he's really the go-to on all this. So I can ask him to come and talk about this, and then we can leave it ongoing.
Okay. And Mickey?
Yeah, I think in summary, at least my understanding of this current session, we did okay. We got some extensive, some cost of living adjustments out through a couple of years, beyond even the budget years. So I agree. Somebody to explain exactly what the impact of this session was on the DDS and, what we might be looking at it in the future. And most people are concerned about the current times for a whole bunch of reasons, not even the political, but just, how is the money going to flow? What's going to happen? So somebody could give us an accurate summary of that, maybe a lobbyist or somebody who knows all those bills. That would be helpful, so we could communicate to other people we come across, what's going on. And I do know one thing that I may not have the accurate interpretation, but I have a daughter-in-law, not the baseball player's mother, my other son, the less famous family, who is an executive director in the world of childcare, and she works with an agency, nonprofit, that trains childcare providers and gets them licensed and all that. It's called All Our Kin. And they did a lot of lobbying. And from my understanding is, I don't know when it starts, but Connecticut will have stipends to support free childcare for any Connecticut family whose income is, I think the cutoff is $100,000 a year. So that means that our employees can now avail themselves of free childcare, which I think should make a tremendous impact on the ability for us to hire folks. And it'll free up a lot of moms and dads to get into the workforce where they may not be able to right now. And I think over the 100,000, there's a certain cap to not exceed a certain percentage of your family income. So being the grandparent of 4 Connecticut children from 9 to 14, whose parents had to pay $15,000 a kid to get through that period where they need the help because all 4 of them work, this can be a tremendous benefit to our workforce. So I don't know if people are aware of that, but
No.
it's
Yeah.
and my understanding is it is passed. And I think that's a credit to our legislature recognizing an issue from both sides of that. So nobody
Are
heard
you
about that?
aware?
So I
Are
have,
you- Go ahead, Arlene.
no, I was just saying, I heard of it. I wasn't sure if it was 2 incomes would be 150 and maybe 1 income 100. I don't
Yeah,
remember.
well, I don't know the exact mechanics, but it would be safe to say that almost all the direct care workers in our field qualify.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely great. True.
Was there a cap on the number of stipends? Do you know?
I don't
Mm.
believe there's any cap, and I think it's to take effect. I don't know when the fiscal year started, or starts.
Wow,
But it's in
that's
this.
unbelievable.
It is. It is truly unbelievable. I can get some details from my daughter-in-law if you need them, but I think it is a happening thing, and that can only be good for those families as well as our workers. And then, of course, you have the challenge of hiring and training the providers. So,
Right.
the circle continues.
And that's a challenge.
Interesting.
But, just getting
Okay.
us more educated in how all those things have come through and how they might affect our population is helpful.
Okay. Next up would be Gil.
I would just say with what Chuck said, were there any bills that did not pass or might get carried forward to the next session that would have been critical for DDS?
Okay.
Okay, Karen?
What Chuck said about, well, first, what everybody said about, looking at a wider scope of who's eligible for DDS is a wonderful thing. But having the cuts, huge billions of dollars of cuts coming through is scary in that regard if the two things happen at the same time. Not that this country doesn't have enough money to support it, because it does, but that means tax increases for very wealthy people. But I mean, that would be, a tremendous thing, because so many kids are on that cusp, on that border, and they need help, they need support, and they're not getting it because they have a 70 or 71 IQ. But having that happen, which is going to be a huge influx of kids that behaviorally have tremendous challenges. I mean, right now I have 3 kids in the hospital for special care, 3 of my clients. And they're so angry, and, they're on meds, they're getting therapy. It's a mess. But on the bright side, my next thing is a lot of parents are getting together and forming social groups. There's a lot of them out there, and it would be great to coordinate all of those social groups, because right now I think, like in Fairfield County, there might be 6. And because there used to be a social program for our kids with DDS, and then that got cut. So the parents were forced to do their own, and they're forming them, and they're out there, and they're very good. I tried posting on my Facebook page all of the ones that I know about. But I'm sure that other regions, that there's also others going on there for others as well. But that's a good thing, for kids to be able to get out of that. It's like usually they're once a month, but if you're going to 3 different groups, that's 3 times a month, and that's a whole lot better than nothing. So, I don't know how you would do it, Shannon, but if you could send an invite out, to all these people running social groups that and they could come in and just tell us what their group is, what qualifications there are. As far as I know right now, like there's one in Westport called Club 203, and I think people think it's just for Westport, but it isn't. It's for all Fairfield County pretty much, or anybody that wants to make the drive. There's one in Newtown that says Families United Newtown, but that also is throughout the state. There's Sun, Moon, and Stars. That's also throughout the state. I don't think parents really realize that.
The Club 203, I know Marina had an association with.
Right. Yeah,
And,
one of my clients started it. That's how I found out about it. And they just had their opening on, what's today? Today's Thursday. So yesterday, were we there, or Tuesday? But it was fantastic. It was at a farm in Weston. There was a hoedown, a barnyard bash. They went around and solicited all kinds of, like cowboy hats and cowboy scarves and everything. The kids just had a wonderful time. And it was well attended, but there could have been a lot more kids there.
I'm also familiar with the Sun, Moon, and Stars. They do a real lot.
Christina, right. Right. Yeah. And there's Linda Jones from Families United Newtown, which she's changing the name of because she wants to say Families United for neurology. I don't know, whatever the term is, but she's trying to get it away from Newtown so people know, no, it's throughout the state. And then I know that there's one in Trumbull, Live It Up or something like that. I don't know anything about that one. So I have a few of them in my head, but I don't know all of them. But it's nice that those organizations are being formed, and it would be great if we could try to coordinate it so people could check into them.
All right. So, all right.
Thank you.
So Shannon, anything else on your director's report then?
No.
Okay. Then on to, so Mickey, you mentioned that you had some questions about, I'll call this new business, about the minutes from the prior meeting, the substance of the minutes. You're on mute, Mick.
I got to go to mute.
Mickey, you're muted.
You're
I
muted.
know,
yeah.
I'm multitasking here because I'm asking ChatGPT, who's my new best friend, I said, please explain the recent legislation in Connecticut, passed in Connecticut regarding child care.
Yeah,
stuff.
so Mickey, real quick, there's actually a form out online that has the child care rates, basically. What's the weekly rates?
Okay,
Uh, and it basically, for example, July 1st to June 30th, 2026. I'm not going to go through the whole list because it's 3 pages. If
okay,
it's an unlicensed relative care, so that's you, I would
Yeah.
assume, right? It's $345 a week.
okay. Well, there it is.
So
So,
other things are, there's different amounts for like infant, toddler, child care center, group child care, school operated programs. Like in the
Right.
North Central, it's $559. Southwest is $696. Southwest. Oh, gee, where's that? All right. That's
okay,
Bamford.
fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
Chat-
there's a whole thing out there about what the rates are. And then there's a whole thing about eligibility, and you got to apply.
eligibility, right. I was looking more on the eligibility side.
Yeah.
And
So there's a whole thing on that.
according to ChatGPT, there's a $300 million endowment that is providing the support for this. Families making up to 100,000 a year will pay nothing. Over that, 7% of household income. So it's just a wonderful thing that Connecticut is providing. Yeah, the question I had before regarding the minutes was if there's been any response from the workforce effort, and Shannon has alluded to that. So I think that was pretty much it. But okay.
And Adriana, you had your hand raised. Obviously, it was
I,
public.
I just remembered that I'm the public, that's why I put it down.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
So,
So
Chuck, were you citing those that were tax-free, they didn't have to pay taxes on?
what are you talking about?
The caregivers or the kid,
I assume you got to pay tax. I assume this. I don't know that this is tax free.
Oh, okay.
Remember,
There's something out there that says if you're taking care of a loved one or whatever,
you're talking about a Medicaid waiver. So
Yeah.
if
So
you're on a
this is not
Medicaid,
the same.
it's not the same. Now this would be different unless the legislation says it's tax free. I don't know, but
Okay.
Medicaid waiver income paid to if a person with a disability lives in your home and they're on a Medicaid waiver and you're being paid under the Medicaid waiver in-home supports to take care of them, then that's tax-free, FICA-free, et cetera, et cetera. What you make is what you get. There's no deductions other than
Mhm.
union and things of that nature.
Okay. Okay.
All right. So on to the next. I want to say we're done with new business. Let me go back to the agenda. Sorry. On to, I want to say public participation. So all business, we don't have any old business. So let's go to the public participation. Adriana?
Hi, everybody. Sorry, I'm driving. I would have been home a while ago, but I didn't want to miss the RAC meeting. I did share a quick article in the chat from the news that gives a little bit of information about the free childcare. It is an endowment. It is moving forward. I think they're trying to do 1,600 spots beginning January. It is an application process. So I think it's over a number of years that they're rolling this out. And it is based on an endowment. So it's really exciting news. So I shared that information. And I wanted to share that we have a save the date for our One Voice conference. It's going to be happening on April 30th. 2026. It is a Thursday, and we will be hosting it again in North Haven. So I just wanted to let everyone know. And then I know that Judy's on, so I don't know if she wants to talk about any other events, but I just wanted to share about One Voice and the free childcare, which is it is huge and very well needed because of the cost of childcare right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Adriana. Anyone else from the public wish to ask a question?
Good.
I want to share just that we have a workshop tomorrow, but it will be in Spanish for Spanish speaking families about prevention, suicide prevention. And we will have our different support groups during the month, English and Spanish. So just I want to remind them that and stay tuned for the next workshop that we have in October. And thank you. And remember the play group in Spanish that we have with TAFA on October 6th.
What is that?
Yeah,
Play group.
feel free to send an email to Eunice with those dates and times.
Sure.
On what it is?
Or what it is, and then we can distribute that to the council.
Yeah.
Thank you, for sure. The play group is a play group that we have in
Okay.
collaboration with TAFA in Torrington. And we play with family. This is just for Spanish speaking families.
Mhm.
And they can play together. We have different activities. Next month will be like sensory battles, but each month is different. But if they don't want to do like that kind of activities, they can also have like a free time, play, painting, and the parents can connect and learn from each other. So this is one of our Spanish play group that we have. This is really free for parents and kiddos. They actually siblings welcome. And we have another play group, bilingual play group in October that will be in the park. This is for the Northwest region. So it's free too. So I will send to you all the information. Yep. And you have many workshops. Tomorrow
Does-
we get
does
Spanish.
does Portuguese count as Spanish?
No, I understand a little bit.
Most of my clients
yeah.
are Portuguese.
I know we have a lot
Or
of families.
Brazilian, I should say. Most are Brazilian. Okay.
Yes, but we try to do our best, try to guide them. If they understand Spanish, they pretty much understand a lot of Spanish.
Okay.
I can understand what they say. Most of them, it's easy to communicate with those families in Portuguese. Yes, but if they are all welcome if they want to come. Yes,
Okay.
for
All
sure.
right. Nice. Shannon, you have your hand raised?
Yes, I do. I just wanted to bring up, there was a person that came forward that has a child in our West Region system that was interested in being part of the RAC. Charles, I don't know if she reached out to you or where that was left.
No, I never got contacted by her.
Okay, all right. And then the other, aligned with what Karen was just talking about, and Yuri was Adriana, do you have a list of all the play groups, social groups throughout the state?
Adriana Ramirez, yes, not extensively, but I can share. So for your Northwest region, not Northwest, sorry, West
Yes.
region, yes, you've mentioned some of them already. You have Social Chase, you have a variety that are popping up, which is wonderful to see. And talking to the RAC and hearing you, making me realize how many groups are popping up. That stay tuned, because like we run a camp workshop where we invite camps from all over the state, so parents can hear what camps are available. This year in January, we're going to be doing that regionally to give families more time to ask questions. So I'm thinking that we may work towards doing something similar by having maybe a workshop, an hour, and invite social groups, play groups that are happening, organizations in one spot where they can all talk about.
Yeah. I think you would be amazed how many parents come.
And families and parents can come and listen and hear and connect with those organizations. So I'm going to work on that, because I think that is a needed resource where families can come into Zoom. And there, for Club 203, I know there are families that will drive an hour and 15 minutes to go. Just like our play groups, people will drive an hour because our play groups aren't age capped. So you could be 22 and come and, enjoy your time. So I think it's very relevant, and we'll work on something to get that together. So stay tuned for that. So thank you for bringing that up.
Almost
Right.
like a provider fair, but for social
But
groups.
for social
Exactly.
groups. So I wasn't even
Exactly.
familiar. You mentioned
That's what
social
we've done
space.
for camps. That's
Yeah.
what we've done for camps in the past. So I'm thinking we could do that for these social groups across Connecticut, and give them an opportunity in a certain period of time, and have families invited to hear what they offer, where they're located, how to contact them, and be able to connect.
That would be wonderful. Wonderful,
Yes,
Adriana.
and thank you for the inspiration, because we're always looking to provide what families are looking for. That's why we don't have cookie cutter. It's not that it's bad. I'm just saying we don't do you don't know what workshops we're going to do, because we do it based on the need of the community and what families are looking for right now. So based on what I'm hearing and realizing that there are a lot of social groups popping up, organizations, because they're seeing there's a need for their child. Usually that's where it always starts, by you're trying to solve a problem in your life. You create an organization and realize you help a lot of others. So we love connecting community to resources, and I think this is definitely needed. So thank you.
Great.
Right. Okay. That really brings us to the end of the meeting. It's a good meeting. I look forward. And Eunice, can you remind us when the next meeting is?
You already sent it out, I think.
It's, yes, the third Thursday of October, which I believe is the 16th, if I'm
Right.
remembering correctly.
Okay.
And don't
So-
forget about the council meeting, not the council, the statewide RAC meeting, November 20th.
Okay.
All right. So we got next two dates. So October 16th. Hopefully, Shannon, you can get Kevin Bronson, and we can find out what happened in the legislature last year.
I'm also going to suggest to him Jill Kennedy, because she's the legislation liaison. That's a tongue twister.
And could you ask them to put it in layman's terms, like exactly what this means?
All right.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Okay, then. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
I'll second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, everyone. Excellent meeting. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
the public.
Thank you.
Adriana,
Bye-bye,
Barry,
everybody.
good to see you. All right.
Bye.
Thank you.
Okay.
Good
Everyone
seeing
take care.
everyone. Hi,
Thank you.
Dan.
Good
Thank
seeing you all.
you. Bye-bye.
Bye.